Welcome to Tables.
Lists! I'm not doing it again. Chairs! Welcome to TLC. Despite what Sat says, we don't go up an octave every time. This is the best wrestling matches of 2024 edition. We have calculated what we believe to be the 10 best wrestling matches of these last 12 months and have ranked them. We are going to go through and assign a point total to each one. 10th place gets 1 point, 9th place gets 2 points, so on and so forth until we have the definitive 3 best wrestling matches of 2024. Hello out there. If you like TLC, make sure you sign up to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get a bonus exclusive episode of TLC this month where Luke, Sullivan, and I rank the best wrestling attires of all time. Here's a clip.
Even his idea to do it. He's been getting away with this for years.
No, someone
It was like Scott Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah, Scott's like, hey, I saw this cool movie. Why don't you do that? It worked for me with Scarface.
The only man to watch movies in wrestling. 3, 2, 1.
Oops. Ooh. So we've got Cody versus Roman. I'm assuming from WrestleMania.
As opposed to the other one.
Yeah, you know, the 3 matches that they've had this year. Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland 3, and Michael Oku versus Luke Jacobs from the Rev Pro Anniversary show.
Someone's been watching UK wrestling live.
Someone was there for this show and had a wonderful time. Last year, when Jacobs had his match with Ishii, at the end of it, I turned to Tempest and I said, that man is going to win the British World Heavyweight Championship this time next year. And lo and behold, they have been telling that story. They've been building them to that point so he could dethrone Michael Oku on this show, and deservedly so in an awesome match.
What can I say about Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland that hasn't been mentioned already? How can you top Hangman Page drinking in Swerve Strickland's blood and then spitting it out like Gangrel's goblet by sticking a needle in Swerve Strickland's mouth? So this has been a feud that's been looming over AEW in 2024. Most likely we wanted it to be an all-in. Didn't have an all-in, but you know, who are you gonna cry? Are you gonna cry to see Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland? I'm not. It's a great substitute to what we initially thought. This is a horror film. Both of these guys have done horrible things to each other. One tossed a t-shirt into a guy's baby crib. And the other guy's like, I burn your family house down. So they both have done despicable things to other people and to each other. So this match, it almost superseded the second match they had together because it was gruesome. You had cinder blocks, you had chaotic chair shots, you've had everything you can think of for a death match put in mainstream wrestling. The feud is generational. You talk about Flair, Steamboat, you talk about Austin and Rock. I put Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland up there as a feud that if you put them two together, they'll just make magic together.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to ruin your pick ever so slightly?
Sure, go for it.
It's their fourth match.
Yeah, it's the fourth match.
Their fourth match is exactly what I was talking about.
That's not how you do Roman numerals.
I'm doing the stick things. Ivy.
This might be considered low on a list, but you know what? It's my personal choice. Early on, there were loads of people saying this is going to be match of the year. I can look at it and be like, that is the most WrestleMania main event that has ever made an event at a WrestleMania. It's all the bells and whistles. It's throw everything, every single thing at the wall. Avengers assemble, do all the crazy run-ins. And I think you lose me a little bit when you get to like, and then The Undertaker shows up in a hoodie for some reason, even though he is not involved in any of this in any way.
Yeah, but it's The Undertaker.
It is.
They powerbombed him that one time through a table and caused him a concussion, and they nearly got buried for it. So
that was 11 years ago.
That
That was 11 years ago.
And he's teaming with one of the guys.
And Roman Reigns ended his streak.
The second time.
The second time.
Cody Rhodes wins the title in the main event of WrestleMania in a match that will go down in history as one of the most memorable WrestleMania main events of all time. And while it not be what I am personally looking for as my best match of the year or whatever, I can see why many people who watch WWE would consider that their best match of the year. 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah.
Cody Roman 2 for Sat Iniangi. We've got Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. I'm assuming the All Out match?
The All Out
Yeah. And I've got Bayley versus Io Sky from WrestleMania 40. It's so great for a number of reasons. Key for me, though, is that it was not given the praise that it deserved in terms of the build for it. It was sort of treated as a little bit like an afterthought in terms of SmackDown, which means that it over-delivered when it came to the actual show itself. And plus, that flip-out reversal of the Rosebud was just absolutely superb.
There has been a run of women's matches at WrestleMania since we got out of the dark times that have just been consistent highlights of those WrestleManias.
True.
And that's one of the biggest highlights of a very good WrestleMania this year.
Even like this, how great this match was. Like this show had Becky and Rhea on it, and that match ruled. But this is the match I came away with. This is the one I was always thinking about.
Roman Reigns has been coasting for quite a while in his title matches, kind of on autopilot, phoning it in. I think it's kind of like professional jealousy. There's a professional jealousy between them. And you knew Roman Reigns when he had those abs out in that tag match, that he came with his working boots on. These two have incredible chemistry. They've only been in a ring together in this current form twice, but each time when they wrestle, like Tempest said, there's something WrestleMania-esque about it. It's kind of like you got two titans in a ring together. Me and Luke, we shared the moment of watching Cody Rhodes finally be deemed the man. I didn't mind Undertaker in the hoodie. It would have been great if it was Stone Cold. It was a really good WrestleMania match.
There are a lot of folk who will look at Will Ospreay going on in the middle of the show and be like, oh, the next match is doomed. We've seen it time and time again.
Sure have.
And you know what? Be better. Just have a good match and you will be fine, because that's exactly what we saw with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. They went out at All Out and had a bonkers street fight.
So good.
One of the best matches of the show, one of the best matches of the year. And I'll be honest, it was a bit of a struggle when I did the AEW Best of Year 5 list. Not a lot was put on the TBS Championship for a while. You know, Toni Storm kind of had to figure out how to work her gimmick into the matches to have a really good match. But since that point, there's just been banger after banger after banger when it comes to the women's division. And more often than not, one of the people in it is Chris Statlander.
Absolute powerhouse.
The best babyface in the promotion versus one of the most consistently excellent workers in the promotion, and it equals a fantastic match, and I want to see this match again for the women's world title next year. 3, 2, 1. Oh, just missed. We're off by 1.
I know.
So we've got Darby and Sting versus the Young Bucks from Tempest, Chris versus Willow from Sat, and I've got Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Get your Fletch lights out.
Which one? The second one?
Yeah, the full gear match.
You're like the brain buster on the turnbuckle. I did it for you, right?
And there was the tombstone off the apron onto the stairs. That's what I wanted to see. Will Ospreay went out for this match determined to make this man an absolute star, and he did just that. Fletcher can hold on his own. He doesn't need Will Ospreay to make him look like a star, but Will Ospreay was like, no, I'm going to make you look like the best guy in this company. And he did just that. This match is awesome.
One of the matches this year that accomplishes the most in one match.
Sure does.
What can I say about Willow versus Chris that hasn't been said already? In AEW, this is the best female feud not involving a title. It was a blood feud, and it ended on a high note, albeit confusing because the other participant became a protagonist again the next month. Even though she won, she should have faced Mariah May, but that's a whole another story. Tempest mentioned there's always the death spot. They were like, F your death spot. They had something to prove, and they went an above and beyond. And they showed that women can be just as vicious and malicious as men. And I hope 2025 is the year that they get their flowers.
Anytime a women's match in AEW goes into the plunder, it's always
so
amazing.
Great. I think of that tag match with the Bunny and Penelope Ford
versus Anna Jay, and her tag team partner there was Ty
Conte, yeah. I was couldn't remember her name.
Mello.
Yes, yeah. That match like that rules. And actually, they've done it with them like Thunder Rosa and stuff on this year on Collision. Yeah. Darby and Sting. Speaking of plunder.
Speaking of plunder. This match is so awesome.
So good.
A lot of people, probably myself even at the time, was like, yeah, the Young Bucks are probably going to win this match. And then Darby and Sting went out there and had their only successful title defense, beat the Young Bucks, and Sting got to ride off into the sunset, head held high, never having lost, and it just felt so right. Also, Darby Allin tries to kill himself. This is a man who's probably taking up like 9 of the top 10 spots of the craziest wrestling moments I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And this is at the top of the list. This man, we've said it to death already. He is an absolute mad lad and will put his body on the line for an incredible moment. And there has been none bigger than this one. Add in the fact that you get the music, Seek and Destroy. Add in the music, add in his sons being there, add in an all-time performance from the Young Bucks, getting the heat over Sting, getting to see him pound his chest, make the comeback and win with the Scorpion Deathlock. And it's just maybe the best retirement match in wrestling history.
Totally.
3, 2, 1.
We're so close.
Sting and Darby against the Young Bucks for Luke. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell from Sat. And Konosuke Takeshita versus Will Ospreay from me.
I'll only add just very slightly onto your one. This match was perfect. Like, I went into this match, I definitely said on the prediction show, I think the Young Bucks should win. I think Sting and Darby Allin, Sting should put over someone on the way out. What a great tag team to do it. He handpicked the Young Bucks. Makes a lot of sense. And then the second he made his entrance, I was like, nope, Sting should win. Sting should never lose ever. And he didn't, and it was so much better for us.
Take notes, WWE.
It was a perfect match.
Don't have Sting lose.
Twice.
My God. This is the first appearance of Will Ospreay on my list. This match is so awesome, and it didn't have this long-running story or anything going into it, but they told an incredible story within the match, because that is something that Will Ospreay does better than anybody in wrestling right now. You want to introduce Will Ospreay again as a full-time member of your roster? You want to be like, you know what you can expect on every pay-per-view? A match like this. And again, Konosuke Takeshita being as amazing as he is, going out there, following up some of the great matches he had in the back half of 2023 and starting his year off with this. Oh my God. You can look at this guy and be like, well, he needs to get a push for the rest of the year. And they ended up getting there. This is a match I want to see run back for the heavyweight title and the near future.
The biggest issue that was with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was great segments, but the matches never matched the heat. People were tired of Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell became a tired gimmick. Since they put a disqualification finish in Hell in a Cell, it has been blighted to the point where people are saying you should just retire it. They talk about restoring the feeling. This match restored the feeling of Hell in a Cell to its bloody goodness. The psychology that went into his match, because it could have been like, oh, let's get the chairs out, let's get ladders out, let's just do a lot of plunder. No, it slowly built and built and built and built, and there was blood involved. The last time we had a great Hell in a Cell match, it was because Cody Rhodes bust his pec, and watching that was gruesome to see, and he had a valiant performance, and that's what elevated the match. It was the emotion. But for me, it was the gruesomeness, and it was a conclusion to a great storyline feud between these two lads right here. And CM Punk proving that he is that guy. When putting into the ring, he knows how to have a great dog collar match, have a great War Games match, and a great Hell in a Cell. It was bloody fantastic. When I watched it, because I saw it on Twitter, people talking, oh, it's the best match. I'm like, is it really? Because you know when you hear that hyperbolic comments about certain things. I watched it. No notes. No notes.
3, 2, 1. Oh. Cody versus Roman from Luke. Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Takeshita from Sat. And Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. from me.
If I may. What can I say about this match that hasn't already been said? This match is great. It's so good. What's that? Did you hear that sound? It sounds like some ringing. Did you hear what it is here? It sounds like someone's trying to call for their dog. That's right. Give me all the bells. Give me all the whistles. That is what I wanted from this match, and I got all of it. It's bonkers that The Undertaker showed up in his street clothes. Sure, more of that. Like, this match was designed to be silly plunder nonsense, and it was silly plunder nonsense, and I loved every second of it.
Funnily enough, guys, initially I was going to go with Ospreay versus Takeshita because it was a great match. But there's something about the triple threat match that put it over for me that I chose it instead of that match. The inspiration for the match is indeed AJ, Samoa Joe, and Danielson.
It's the unbreakable triple threat,
of course. Yeah. And as you know, it's Ospreay's match that influenced him to become a wrestler.
Yeah.
Ospreay and Ricochet, they all trying to do a game of one-upmanship, and you got Takeshita playing spoiler, the host of just forearming both guys over and over again in the face. There was no rest period. It was just go, 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 all the way to the end. It was one of the best matches I saw this year, and I had to give it, some love.
Graps. The sexiest of graps. Listen, man, when they had their match at WrestleDream, I saw it and went, that might be the best technical wrestling match I have ever seen in my life until they do it again.
Yeah.
And then they did it again, and it was better. Because I don't want to have a slight against that crowd in Seattle, but I knew that a New Japan crowd in Osaka would be the perfect audience for this match. Places that respect the idea of, like, you make it to the ropes, you break, you clap. That's a high spot in some of these matches. But to have these guys both locked in heel hooks and just slapping each other, and you see the look in Zach's eyes change. Like, no, I'm not going to get dogged out here. You're not going to treat me like that. I'm not some second. I'm not some young boy. And they start trading slaps, trading strikes, and to have Zach win with a technical roll-up, this is a perfect technical wrestling match by maybe the two best to ever do it. 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice.
So we got Ospreay versus Pac from Sat. We have Will Ospreay versus Swerve from Tempest. And for me, the Cutthroat Collective taking on Team Rev Pro from the
You sure liked that anniversary show, didn't you?
Oh, man, but this match, right? So, okay, this should be the Hechicero Zach match.
Sure.
The surprise of Giselle Shaw was a lovely addition for Team Rev Pro. They had so many great hardcores because it was a hardcore 10-woman tag. Before this match happened, I went to go have a little bit of a bathroom break, and the guy at the merch stall said, "Hey, Luke." I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I walked over there, and he was like, "Do you want to buy a t-shirt?" And I was like, I'm not really looking to buy any merch today, you know? And he was like, it was the Cutthroat Collective t-shirt. And I was like, I'm not looking to buy any merch at the moment. So I went to the bathroom, said my thanks to him, went to go get a drink. And then I watched this match. I got out of my chair, and after I had applauded everyone, I went to that merch store and I was like, one t-shirt, please.
I mean, that's how they get you. That's how it's meant to be.
That's exactly it.
Investment.
It was such a good match. It made me buy merchandise.
I've heard that behind the scenes, the match was a ball ache to get together.
Yeah, no, yeah. And do you know who was a big part of the putting together of this?
I was about to laugh.
Yeah, Will Ospreay. Because Alex is in the match, so Will's like really heavily involved in this. I had a few people messaging me being like, I could see Will from like just behind the curtain, like peeking through and watching the match.
Yeah.
He's like, like, they're doing this well.
Yeah, he's been involved in putting matches together for women's matches involving
yeah.
Alex and Pro Wrestling Eve as well.
If you told me that any of the matches left are your match of the year out there in TV land, I would be like, yeah, I get it. Yep. Absolutely. And I am disappointed in myself to have this low on the list. Just as a match is excellent. Maybe the two best wrestlers in the world at the time, having a main event world title match with stakes that you thought could go either way. Will might be winning that title. Swerve came out of it looking so much better than he did going in. I got to give a lot of credit to Will Ospreay for this because this was his idea. Because people aren't going to take Swerve seriously. They're just going to be fantasy booking me winning the title. So just have him beat me and we can move on from that and give him his reign. When you go out there and you beat bell to bell the best wrestler in the world and show that he is a level below you on the pecking order, that makes you a top star.
Selfless.
This match made Swerve Strickland even more undeniable than he already was.
I put this match on as a statement. It goes to show you that in the back catalogue of Will Ospreay matches in 2024, this might get lost in the sauce.
It will do.
It was always like injury or visa issues because it's always like Pac starts off great with trio matches and then he's gone. He's back again with the whole Hammer storyline and it's gone. But this year he's been more consistent presence on TV and I'm glad he's with Death Riders. Pac is one of the best wrestlers in the world and I wish he had more opportunities to show that, and this was a great showcase of that.
3, 2, 1. Hey! Matchy.
WWE's best match.
Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, you and I. And Ospreay versus Swerve. Again, you're one ahead of me. For
me, it is a lot around that. It's the Hell in a Cell gimmick.
Yes.
I think has meant kind of nothing in WWE for a long time. I think people say like, oh, Cody versus Seth was the last great Hell in a Cell match. You take the Cell out of that match, it's still the same great match.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been a good Hell in a Cell match. There've been great matches inside a Hell in a Cell, but not a great Hell in a Cell match. And that's what this was. This was a great Hell in a Cell match. Kind of what helped that is that their first match is just like, hey, do you remember SummerSlam 97? Because we do. If I told you I like Bret Hart. And then the second match was a Mario Party mini game, so which means this match meant something.
I love this match with all of my heart. I have spoken a lot on this one and the most recent TLC that's just gone up of Best Wrestlers as what has accomplished the most, and for the most part, that has been in relation to getting one of the participants over, right? Swerve and Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. This accomplished getting a stipulation raised from the dead.
Oh, yeah.
And they are the perfect people to pull that off. CM Punk very clearly has a lot of love for the old school ways of doing things, and that includes, hey, I hate you, and I will die as long as I can take you down with me, and we're gonna do it in a cage, and I'm gonna make you bleed. And not only did they accomplish all that, but they had the best WWE match of the year in the process.
Absolutely, exactly.
Swerve became solidified as a main eventer, but another thing happened in this match is not all Ospreay matches were predictable, because up until that point, it was a foregone conclusion that he win all his matches. This let you know that he is human being. He's not superhuman after all.
It's vulnerable.
Yeah, totally.
3, 2, 1. Yeah! Let's go!
Synergy right there.
Absolutely.
We're going to carry this all the way through to the end. I can feel it. Michael Oku and Will Ospreay for Luke and I, and Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. from SAT.
For years and years and years, I said the greatest wrestling match I'd ever seen live was Keith Lee versus Tomohiro Ishii, until I saw this match right here. And I was like, it's the greatest wrestling match I've ever seen live. It's arguably one of the greatest matches I've ever seen, period. It was just a spellbindingly good match. And Michael is so great in this match. Will is awesome in this match. When Will booted a mirror in the face, it was... Because bear in mind, this is Will's last match in Britain before he goes to AEW. So he is getting the all-conquering hero reception. But Michael is the babyface in this match. This is Michael's match to prove that he is on Will's level. So Will, smart guy, boots a mirror in the face and gets awesome heel heat for it. But these two work their asses off in this one. Had just... like the shout-out moments... like the Mega Driver stuff in there, like to Mad Kurt. It's just, it is a perfect match. Also, I think you and I said this when we came out of it. The match went like 45 minutes, and it did not feel like it was 45 minutes.
Felt like
long.
20.
20 at most.
I have been very blessed to see a lot of very good matches live. This is the best singles match I've ever seen live by a country mile. And I've seen some doozies. I'm not from here, but I've been adopted by this country, and I therefore have a real fondness for the Rev Pro scene and the British independent scene because of the dynamic that Michael Oku, even though he's the babyface in this story, has to work against Will Ospreay, who's a hero and is leaving. But these guys are so incredibly talented at putting a match together that they still were able to flip that dynamic, work with it at the start, but then give the reason to boo Will and cheer Michael by the end of the match as it was his crowning moment. Lesser man would have let that whole dynamic sink the match. But these are not lesser men. These are the greatest men. And I hope we get to see them have this match at Wembley Stadium one day.
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart quoted earlier in Who Killed WCW, I was an artist. And some people laughed at that. And then when you watch a match like this, you get what Bret Hart's getting at. When technical wrestling is done well, it is an art form. When you're watching it, people doing sequences and moves together. It's two guys on top of their profession it's almost like watching tennis. If you're into tennis, it's just like batting, like you're saying, like I'll get you in the heel hook. I'm gonna get you in the heel hook. Then I'm gonna kick you in the face. I'm gonna kick you in the face. Then I'm gonna slap your face. Then I'm gonna slap your face in. These two men have reinvented technical wrestling for the 21st century, but also they still don't forget the fundamental basis of what makes technical wrestling great, which is making it look real.
Yep.
So seeing these two wrestle and also feel like Danielson, as he's coming to the end of his career, passing the baton to Zack Sabre Jr. as he's the new best technical wrestler or the best wrestler in the world. It was a pleasure to see.
They do a fantastic job on commentary in this match. Walker Stewart and Chris Charlton are the best wrestling commentary duo right now. But they talk about how the different approaches of these men into technical wrestling affect the way that a match like this goes, where Danielson looks at it as a science. You do this, they react this way. But Zach looks at it as more of a musical, comparison. He looks at technical wrestling like jazz. And while they both are experts at this one specific style of wrestling, their approaches to it dictate how their matches go. And I was like, in addition to it being fantastic commentary and fascinating, it makes a match like this and them going forward as wrestlers, and you have a new appreciation for everything that they do because they are the best while being so incredibly different.
Yes, technical wrestling is sexy.
Sexy. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah! Come on, guys, bring it here. Yeah.
Oh, the synergy is working today, lads.
yes.
Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson from All In. We were all there. I've never had a night like this.
For months and months and months, I said that Michael Oku versus Will Ospreay was the greatest wrestling match I'd ever seen live. Until this match right here. This was magical, man. Like, genuinely a magical moment. I was in floods of tears when he was making his entrance there, that awesome video package. And I was just like, I was slightly homesick because I hadn't seen my family for a few days, but I just had tears streaming down my face. And then he came out to the final countdown. I could barely sing because my voice was just like, it's the final countdown. My favorite moment of this match, obviously it's the swerve no sell of the Psycho knee, but it's when he's given him the yes kicks and he positions Danielson so that his family can see what he is doing. And he's like, don't look at them, look at me. You look at me, you don't look at them. And Danielson stares at his family while he's being kicked in the chest, and he just shouts, I love you so f***ing much. And he stands up and he fires back. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in wrestling.
It makes me so emotional.
Yes!
I have very rarely in my adult life wanted a person to win a wrestling match more. And I have never been there in the building to see it happen.
Yeah.
Having a baby face that you want to see win. And when he wins, the whole building are hugging the people next to them and jumping up and down. And it's also one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, legit.
To cap that off.
Yeah, legit. It has everything in this.
It's easy to forget that Swerve Strickland is like the de facto babyface, but in this match, he was fine with being the heel in the match, which added to the emotion of the match as well. And sometimes you get criticism of like, what is wrestling storytelling? Can you do wrestling storytelling in the ring? Yes, watch this match and you'll see it. Everything they did in their promos, talking about how Danielson, you don't have what it takes anymore. You just want to let it all go, but I'm hungry for this. I really want this. Everything that was showcased in that promo was showcased in this match, and that's why it made it fantastic. And also a great thing is how to look strong in defeat.
Yeah, right.
Looked strong. He looked like a bloody beast.
It's all about the family dynamic. Of just like, you just want to go home and be a family man, but I know you want to do that, but you're not going to take this moment away from me. I want you to be the American Dragon going into this match, not just I'm ready to retire Bryan Danielson. Exactly. I want you to want to win this. And when he does those steppies onto Danielson's face in front of his kids, SP3 was stood just behind his family, Danielson's family, and he said the birdie was in tears during that moment and like was inconsolable for about 10 minutes because she was watching her dad just get stomped in the face by this murderous psychopath in Swerve Strickland. So good in this match. He was great, man. Like perfect dance partners.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I love it when everything comes together.
Because I mean, of course it is, right?
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
The year went on. Other matches had happened. Maybe one of those is better. I've gone back and watched this multiple times. This is one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen.
It really is. Like, this is Genuinely, this is art right here.
These are two perfect wrestlers.
Two perfect wrestlers having a
perfect
perfect
match.
match. The term dream match, I think, can be thrown around a lot, oftentimes at the detriment of a match. This had dream match sort of plastered all over it, and boy howdy did they ever exceed those expectations.
I was actually kind of nervous. You know, when you see something, it looks so perfect. Can it be perfect?
Yeah.
Does perfection exist? That is the question. And when I watched this match, I couldn't be more prouder of my dear friend seeing, because I can bias objectively. Subjectively, I am biased, but also objectively, he's actually pretty darn good at what he does. You don't understand. I'm sorry. You can have a mate. You're like, yeah, he's fine in the ring. You know, Kip Sabian, he's okay. But no, Will Ospreay is great at wrestling, because you got two guys here who are known for different styles. But the great thing about these two guys is they never forget an ingredient, an important component in wrestling: psychology. You see it in the ring. You see as the match progressed, as Ospreay was getting more confident, and Danielson was probably underestimating what Ospreay can do in the ring, and that's what led to his defeat. But also the psycho knee to the head, right?
Oh, man.
The timing. That's what I'm saying. Psychology and timing. There's so many things. People think of moves. No, it's the in-between that makes wrestling great. And this match is a great example of it.
It's when you look up and down these Ospreay matches, like that we've all listed out, and like I could have just filled my entire list with just Will's like 2024. But the Takeshita match, the Fletcher match, the Swerve match, the three-way, it's this one.
The Bucks tag team match.
The Bucks tag team
Oku.
match. It's the Oku match. It's the Pac match. Every single one of them is brilliant, not just for moves, but the story he tells in the ring with his dance partners.
Josh Alexander match as
The
well.
Josh Alexander
yeah,
match,
there's so
like,
many he's done this year. Yeah,
He has just had such a great year. And every single one of them, you can look and be like, what a fascinating story, bell to bell.
What more could I say about this match that hasn't already? Like, genuinely, you go back and you watch it, you may know every single spot that happens. I don't know if I've ever seen a wrestling match escalate further and further and further and peak and then end better than this match. You will sit there on your lunch break and you can watch this match and you will be getting out of your chair by the end of it. It is brilliant. It is perfect. It is everything that you could possibly want out of pro wrestling done by two of the very best.
Amen.
Well, I think we know what the number 2 and number 1 spot are in terms of our things, but I have got some results right here, and I can reveal at number 3, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell.
Well done.
Well done.
At number 2, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson at All In. And at number 1, it is Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson.
3 of the best matches I've ever seen in my life.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you for watching this episode of TLC, and of course, if you have missed it, make sure you go over and check out our list of the best wrestlers of 2024. Here's a clip.
If you're going to do that, you don't need to go an octave higher than he does.
Yes.
So if we go, welcome to tables.
List. Cheers! Exactly. That's what people want. No?